There is no question that vibrations or sound waves have both the power to heal and the power to harm us. Just look at the overwhelming evidence for the benefits of sound therapy or to the debilitating effects of ultrasonic weapons. But what is this controversy regarding 432 Hertz versus 440 Hertz used in music? The arguments range from 432 Hertz resonating with the natural frequency of the earth and of your root chakra to 440 Hertz being propagated by Nazis in order to make people feel anxious, aggressive, and disharmonic in order to further their sinister plans. What is the significance of these particular frequencies? How and why have they emerged through history? The term Hertz is simply the measurement of how many times a sound wave cycles or vibrates back and forth per second. This unit of measurement was only possible since the 1830s. In fact, this measurement was actually called cycles per second until the name Hertz was coined in the mid-1900s and finally adopted by the International Organization of Standards by 1960 in honor of Heinrich Hertz, who made important scientific contributions to the study of electromagnetism. So the higher number of cycles, the higher the frequency. Most music today uses the standard 440 Hertz, which means the A note after the middle C is tuned to this frequency. Through most of history, people use their ears to tune their musical instruments. Eventually, wooden pipes were invented for this purpose, but variations in the wood, humidity, and air temperature made them unreliable. The problem was solved in 1711 when John Shore invented the tuning fork. However, there was no coordination to standardize musical pitch until the 19th century. Before this, live music was a local event, and there was no reason to coordinate with musicians from other cities or countries. It wasn't until musicians started traveling longer distances to play with other musicians that it became evident that having a tuning standard was necessary. Musicians and composers noticed that higher tunings created a more brilliant and exciting experience for the audience, especially in larger venues. This led to a ladder of higher tunings, or what was called pitch inflation. At some point, it became apparent that opera singers were not able to keep up with the ever-increasing higher tunings and began to push back. While instruments can be pitched higher with the turn of a key, this is not true for the human voice. In 1859, a French government commission made an effort to standardize tuning by making it a law in the country that A equals 435 Hertz. This was not to hold, however, as in the late 19th century, London's Royal Philharmonic Society went its own way, and by 1896 adopted what was to be A equals 439 by taking the French standard and applying an erroneous formula that involved air temperature. Meanwhile, back in North America and other areas of the world with established orchestras, the tunings remained unstandardized and the pitch inflation continued. But in 1939, an international conference held in London was successful in reaching a consensus among the participating countries, which did include Germany, and the standard was set at A equals 440 Hertz. In 1959, this was adopted by the International Organization for Standardization. So now we know how and why the standard for 440 Hertz came to be.
Headshot, case closed. A fishy, ooh.
The human being is like an acoustic instrument emanating certain frequencies. Does 432 act as a tuning fork and enter into sympathetic resonance with the cells of the human body? Meaning, what is in harmony with a certain vibration will resonate with it.
If I tap this fork, the second fork will also vibrate in sympathy. And if I silence this fork, we just may hear the other singing its tone.
Well, you feel stronger when you're in tune. Just like if you tune an orchestra, all the instruments will play to the same tuning. And so it is with human beings. We're all tuned the same way, and yet we all have different music that we play.
Allowing us to tune into a deeper state, activating higher states of cognitive capabilities. In fact, there have been experiments conducted which show that music tuned to 432 Hertz versus 440 Hertz improved sleep in patients with spinal cord injuries and reduced anxiety and stress in emergency room nurses during the COVID-19 pandemic. And although the experiments concluded that further tests are necessary to assess medium to long-term effects, it makes sense that if higher tunings create more excitement among listeners, Lower tunings would have the opposite effect, and lower heart rates bring more calm and alleviate stress and anxiety. Here's a musical sample of both tunings. I'll tell you which is which after the clip. So the first sample was 440 and the second was 432. Which did you like better? Regardless of which one you preferred, I was not able to find any evidence that the tuning of 440 Hertz was created with any nefarious intent. But if you have any information or documentation otherwise, please let me know in the comments.
Wouldn't you like to know? It was a lovely little fish.
And it went wherever I did go.